So whenever I think of Davidoff's Cool Water, I think of high school, even though I was in high school in the early 2000s, and it's a fragrance that came out in the late 80s, circa 1988. There were so many people that wore it in high school, I suppose because it's a bargain bin fragrance, and myself included, and one of my best friends actually wore it all throughout high school. But here we have the year is 2021. We have the Parfum version, which is the most recent flanker in the Cool Water franchise. I'm excited to give you my thoughts on this fragrance, what it smells like, if there are any other fragrances on the market that I could compare it to. So make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin my fragrance review of Cool Water Parfum by Davidoff, and I tell you all about this fragrance, what I think it smells like, so on and so forth, I do want to mention that if you are a fan of fragrance-related content, if you like fragrance reviews here on YouTube, but also top 10 videos, giveaways, unboxings, and more, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. And if you can give this video a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm, it would really mean a lot to me. It would go such a long way. So here we have a few decades after the year of the release of the initial Cool Water, which came out in the late 80s. Now we have Cool Water Parfum, and this is only natural. I think we've seen a lot of brands sort of doing this eau de toilette, eau de parfum, and parfum trend. And, you know, Bleu de Chanel is one of the pioneers in that. They released Bleu de Chanel, the original eau de toilette, and then the eau de parfum and the parfum. And then, of course, Christian Dior followed suit with Sauvage. So we had the eau de toilette, eau de parfum, and the parfum. And then here, I think there was an eau de parfum of Davidoff's Cool Water. If there was, I don't think I ever owned it or reviewed it, but here in 2021, the perfumer Jean-Christophe Hérault has composed the new parfum version of Cool Water. So I'm really excited to give you my thoughts on the smell. Let's start things off with the presentation. So in terms of citrus, the main citrus ingredient that you're going to get in the opening is lemon. And it opens up really bright, a little flavorful, and so it gives you enough of that lemony appeal in the opening to really sort of hook you and lure you in. And it's kind of what we're looking for from a fragrance that is called Cool Water, right? We want something that's aquatic, oceanic. Of course, it contains kaolin, which is a very popular synthetic aroma chemical that is found in many aquatic fragrances, including this one, including Lotus et Poron by Issey Miyake, including many other fragrances that are falling within that aquatic and citrusy genre. And here we have lemon, pink pepper, and so pink pepper gives fragrances kind of a rosy vibe. I'm not getting a whole lot of that from this fragrance, but you are going to get a little bit of that vetiver that's in here, and so it comes across smelling very fresh and green and clean and citrusy. And then you almost get like this ambroxan vibe in the base. And so almost imagine if, you know, the original Cool Water kind of put kaolin into the spotlight. This fragrance puts ambroxan into the spotlight. And with the mere mention of that, of course, that conjures up any number of fragrances that are brought to mind. And I think really if I had to compare this fragrance to any other fragrance that I own or I've gotten my nose on, I would say that it probably smells similar to Dior Sauvage. And so I don't know if I would say it's closer to the eau de toilette or the pure parfum. I'm not really sure which flanker I would probably, you know, make it closer to, but just because it has enough of that, you know, sort of ambroxan citrusy vibe that's in here, there is definitely something in here that gives me Sauvage vibes, if you will. And so you can tell that they took a little bit of inspiration from Christian Dior's Sauvage in creating this fragrance. But when you think about a fragrance that is about 33 years old, you know, and of course I'm referring to the original Cool Water, you want to do something that keeps up with the trend, something that modernizes it. But I think at the end of the day, you also need to stay true to the original formula. And with the original formula of Cool Water, it's such an iconic DNA, and I'm not really getting a whole lot of it from this fragrance. If somebody told me that this was the new flanker to, you know, Prada Luna Rossa Carbon fresh or something like that, I would have believed it, because I think it kind of goes in that direction where, you know, when you think about all these other fragrances that have kind of taken influence from Dior Sauvage, I think they smell great, and I think they're going to get compliments, and I think they're very functional and they're very versatile, and I think they're super appropriate for the hotter weather. But I think somewhere in between you start to lose originality. And if you're not worried about that, if you're just, you know, in the market for a fragrance that smells exceptionally fresh and cleaned and well groomed and well tailored, then by all means, you know, I think that fragrance is going to fit the bill perfectly for you. But if you're looking for something different, something to sort of set you apart, I think this fragrance kind of follows the trends, which I think we see a lot of fragrance brands doing that nowadays. And so there's absolutely no criticism on, you know, Davidoff for that. I think, you know, every company should be looking into what is going to offer them the most capital gain and what's going to be the most profitable for them. But at the end of the day, I do think that this fragrance loses a few points for originality, but that doesn't take away from the overall pleasant feeling and sensation that you're going to get from wearing this fragrance or smelling it on somebody else. And so I think it's very bright, very fresh, very refreshing. You are going to get that lemon and Ambroxan combination in there. A little bit of that earthy texture as well, coming from more so the vetiver than the sandalwood, because for me, sandalwood has a very sort of creamy, sweet, and woodsy vibe, and I'm not getting a whole lot of that from this fragrance. But I think this is a Davidoff Cool Water flanker worth owning, especially if you own the original Cool Water and you've never owned Dior Sauvage or Prada Luna Rosa Carbon or the myriad of other fragrances that are set to smell similar to Dior Sauvage. I think if you've never owned those and you're a fan of the Cool Water franchise, I would say that this one is great for you to pick up. But yeah, just keep in mind that it will smell quite similar to Dior Sauvage, at least in my opinion. You may disagree with me, and that's the beauty of fragrances. I think fragrances are subjective for a reason, and so I'm always curious to know what you think. Leave a comment down below. But with that said, let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. So first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, I've already shared my 2 cents regarding that. I don't think it's totally unique, but in terms of the overall smell, very pleasant. I think you will get complimented on this fragrance. This fragrance has that DNA that is guaranteed to get positive attention from those around you. It's a perfect fragrance for the office. It just smells very clean and very well groomed and well tailored and well built. And so if that's what you're looking for, I think this fragrance is going to satisfy that itch, so to speak. In terms of the longevity, you can expect about 6 to 7 hours on your skin, not 67, 6 to 7. In terms of the projection, I think this one is going to radiate within an arm's length for the first hour and a half to 2 hours of application. And so the performance is actually really good in the first few hours after the fragrance is applied. It's not until about that 5 or 6 hour mark that it actually does start to sit a little bit closer to the skin. In terms of the versatility, hotter weather is the best time to wear this one. And you can probably pull it off in the autumn when it's still a little warm outside, but not like the blistering cold of winter. I think this one is leaning a little bit masculine for my preferences. And I think this one can work in a casual scenario as opposed to like a dressed up formal scenario. In that case, I would probably go with something a little bit more woodsy, a little bit more refined, maybe with a touch of sweetness in it as well. But I definitely think this one gives off a bit of a casual vibe. But of course, if you want to wear this one in a shirt and tie, nobody is stopping you. These are just recommendations. At the end of the day, you should wear what you love and wear what makes you happy. And in terms of the presentation, I actually kind of like the presentation. I feel like the color of the liquid inside got a little bit darker. And of course, they retained the iconic shape of the original and the name and the typeface and everything like that. So my final verdict is, if you are a fan of fragrances like Dior Sauvage Eau de Parfum or Dior Sauvage Parfum, and you've never owned them, but you're a fan of the Cool Water franchise and you want the newest release to have hit the market, I would say check out Cool Water Parfum. This one is a little bit stronger from the current formulations of Davidoff's Cool Water that you'll smell on the market today. And so I think that will make you pretty happy knowing that this one is going to last a little bit longer than the current formulations of Cool Water. But of course, keep in mind that this smells very, very different from the original Cool Water. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me today. That was my fragrance review of Cool Water Parfum by Davidoff. If you own or have tried this fragrance or the original Cool Water, which that should be every single one of you, leave a comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Also, if you can share with me what has been your favorite fresh fragrance for the year 2021, I would really love to start some interaction there. If you are new to this channel and you took something of value from this video, or maybe you've been watching this channel for a while but you never hit that subscribe button, I would really appreciate it if you can do it on this video. It would mean a lot to me. And also, if you can give this video a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm, that would go a long way. Thanks again for watching. Love you all. We'll see you next time.